Hello and welcome to Donington Park for round 2 of GB4 in 2025, partnered by the BRDC from a sunny but freezing cold this morning Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. We had an excellent first race of the season, a perfect introduction to the new era of GB4, and what a brilliant race it was. My name is Piers Prior. I'll be running you through the build up to the round 2 of the championship this morning. And before we get into the pre-show, let's have a look back at the first round of GB4 in 2025 from yesterday.
Highlights from the season opener of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC in 2025. And it was Isaac Phelps starting from pole position with an excellent launch down to turn 1. He would hang on to the race lead. Bit of contact in though behind as the Elite Motorsports car there would drop back. Bansal making contact with the rear end of Taylor as he would fly down the order and afraid after those issues. A few drivers making an issue and a mistake going through the Fogarty S on the opening lap, with a couple of drivers trying to find their position and go single file as they head their way down into the old hairpin. Plenty of battling up the order though, including this, the number 77, Leandro Juncos, making some big moves down the inside as he was trying to work his way past Hilton there in the Douglas Motorsports blue car there, and also would make another move. Big one down the inside here on the number 17 of Stefan Bostantiev. Big move, bit deep, bit of contact, and it was Sem Bostantiev out wide, dropping him back behind the two Douglas cars. Late on in the race, on the final lap, Wilson would go out wide after a big move to the inside from Dean Areen, and it was Wilson round into the gravel and out of the race on the very last lap. It was a dominant performance though from Isaac Phelps, coming across the line to win his first race in the first race of the season. Dan Ginchard in behind and Alex Catalyst in third. It was 1.3 seconds he was clear, 2 elite cars onto the podium, but an excellent performance from Isaac Phelps from pole position.
A great first race of the GB4 Championship in 2025, and I've got once again Max Maserati to join us to talk about that. Max, it was a really good first race considering all 25 new cars on the grid, only a couple of small incidents on the circuit, but largely very, very good racing.
Yeah, I mean, I completely ate my words from yesterday. When we were saying it, they were all very well behaved and really showed the quality of this championship and the level of drivers that we have coming into it.
Yeah, it was really competitive all the way up and down the grid. We saw some great battling. Alex Catalyst springs to mind, coming from, I think it was 7th or 8th place, up onto the podium in the end. But also, all the way up and down the grid, we saw fighting, which is, I suppose, it mirrors the closeness we've had in testing so far.
Yeah, I mean, certainly as a coach with GBR, I was very happy. Those 3 drivers all started outside the top 10 and finished with inside the top 10. I think other drivers as well, like Catalyst, Hilton, people were looking at in testing. We weren't sure if people were qualifying outside of maybe where they should have, because it's the first round. We're not sure where everyone is yet. It's the first time, you know, all the cars we know would have been running with the right weight in, the right fuel, all these kind of things that in pre-season testing you just don't know what the other teams are doing, where they're at with it. So it was the first gauge, but then the race gave up again a different result, and it's been like that all pre-season testing, different top 5 every single time. And we had a different top 10 again almost in that race than the quali.
So you don't think this is early enough to tell where the championship's going to lie yet?
No, not yet. The elites obviously look very, very strong. You know, throughout all pre-season testing, qualifying and the race, they're the only consistent force. Everyone else has been oscillating all through. But even so, when we say, you know, consistent force, we're talking such margins here. Like the top, you know, 1 second covering 20 cars. If you find a little bit of time out there, you could jump so many places.
Absolutely, and that's part of the reason why we're enjoying the championship so much so far. The drivers that had the best race in that first race of the season, of course, was Isaac Phelps in second place, Dan Ginchard, and then Alex Catalyst in third place. And we caught up with them immediately after their first podium in the GB4 Championship. Maya, a good start to 2025 for yourself, considering what I think by your own standards was a disappointing qualifying. 16th up into what was, I think in the end, 8th or 9th place.
I honestly thought I was going to be a little bit higher, but the team and I worked hard to get that spot, and my teammates were up there too, so I'm happy with it.
Looked like you had to work hard for that one. There was plenty of battles during that race.
Yeah, the start was a difficult one. I had an amazing start up until, I think it was Old Hairpin. And then there was some jockeying, and I think somebody might have had a puncture because I went to the right, and the left row just slowed down, so I was lucky to get going. I got around, I think, 5 cars at the start, and then just worked my way through there, so I was happy.
Yeah, there was a puncture. Jack Taylor from the front row, unfortunately, got a bit of contact from behind, which meant he fell down the field. But you were the lucky driver that managed to take some positions because of that on misfortune. But looking ahead to the second race going into the weekend, what are your hopes for the rest of the weekend now?
Yeah, well, race 1 was a good building point. We definitely have to be, I think I have to be a lot further up the grid if I want to be in a championship fight. So I think the goal for tomorrow is do the same thing, just better.
Stefan, your first experience of GB4 in 2025. That was a busy race for you.
Yeah, indeed. First race for me in the UK, first race in single seater, so a lot to learn here today. The start was I think pretty mega from my side. Never done a standing start in my life, so I think beginner's luck on that side, but just struggled for a pace from lap 3 onwards. Something to look at for tomorrow. Yeah, trying to improve the car for race 2 and race 3.
You said beginner's luck there, but it didn't look much like a beginner out there, well in the thick of the action. Unfortunate to get a little moment after you were overtaken by Junkos there. It looked like you hit the pit limiter.
Yeah, indeed I did. We have to look into that as well. I think best to remove the pit limiter in general. Because it's just very easy to hit, but yeah, a shame again, and let's see if we can do better tomorrow.
Yeah, great job from Team Pace, of course. They're new to the championship along with yourself. You've got experience in cars, racing Lamborghinis, but not so much in single-seaters. How have you found that transition so far?
No, honestly, it's a complete different sport. Everything I learned from sports cars kind of goes down the window. So it's a complete different style of driving. You know, it's a much lighter car. It's half the weight of a Lamborghini, so a lot to get used to still. Still, again, very early days for me with the car and the team. But yeah, I think we're using this round in GB4 for prep for GB3 next in a few weeks' time, so trying to learn as much as possible in the next few days.
Good prep, do you reckon, so far?
Getting there, I think. Yeah, first race start for me today. Yeah, getting my elbows out here and there, but yeah, I think with tomorrow and Sunday, I'll be ready for Silverstone.
Here with Leandro Junkos. Leandro, how was that as an introduction to the GB4 Championship?
It was a very exciting race, a lot of action. Had a really good start actually, good getaway. There's a bit of contact, so lost 2 or 3 spots there, but had a good recovery. The pace was really, really good. I mean, the car hill speed supplied was fantastic. I think me and Dan were really fast. I think for tomorrow, I think we have a really good baseline as well to keep going with the new tire. But yeah, it was a really good race. Very, very happy with that.
Only one place away from the podium. I'm sure that you want to get that one spot extra in the remaining races this weekend. But still, we saw a lot of good moves in that race. We saw pretty closely that you had a bit of a moment for the chicane, but then the next lap you nailed it and managed to get past Bostanjiev.
Yeah, it was tricky. With the wind direction, it was really tricky to stop in the chicane. But it's just also with the air wash. On top of that, it's very, very hard to get a run. But after a couple of tries and a couple of sideways moments, we got it done, and yeah, just the car was mega. It was really, I think I could have just kept going. The race was longer. It would just keep going better.
Of course, you've made the big trip over from the States to come and race with us this year. You teamed up with Hillspeed. Is anyone else that have helped you get on the grid right now?
Yeah, just obviously my dad and the IndyCar team. They've helped a lot, and for all the people watching back home, my family, friends, and a nice message to the Argentina fans. Un saludo para toda la gente argentina y nada, con mucho orgullo para tener la bandera y nada, ojalá que pueda representar bien el país y fue un buen resultado, creo que para empezar el campeonato.
Amazing. Well, Leandro, great to have you in the championship, a great introduction to the championship and a good result to start off. We'll see how you get on through the rest of the season.
Yes, I'm very excited. Thank you very much.
Great to hear from 3 of the drivers that were in the thick of the action there. That was Mir Donorin, the driver that you're working with, Stefan Bostanjiev, and then Leandro Junkos in that one. Leandro having a few words in his native language there for everyone watching at home. It's great to have such a variety of drivers with varied backgrounds in the championship this year, Max.
Yeah, it's fantastic. As we touched on yesterday, having a fully international grid, drivers coming from all over the world, taking everything they've learned to come here and compete in GB4. It just shows you worldwide this is the place to start your car racing career. Absolutely, and it's part of the draw and why we've got such a big grid this year is because it's the new car. The new car is a big attraction. And Lewis is going to tell you a bit more about that. But before he does, I did manage to get to drive this brand new car when it was announced in the summer last year. And we teased it yesterday. And once Lewis has explained the car, we'll run the second part of that tape as well.
The GB4 Championship introduces a new car to the series for 2025, the Tartas MSV GB4025. The Tartas MSV GB4025 previously raced in the GB3 Championship between 2022 and 2024, so it's already a hugely proven and well-received machine with excellent levels of reliability and parity. With the all-important Halo cockpit protection device, upgraded safety standards all round, and a revamped technical package. To meet GB4 requirements, the car has single-plane front and rear wings, a naturally aspirated 2-litre 4-cylinder mount tune engine mounted to a 6-speed SADEV gearbox with paddle shift, bodywork revisions, as well as additional safety upgrades including improved side impact and rollover protection. And that's the new GB4 car for the 2025 season.
And we're away, here we go. Let's get a feel for the brakes. Wow, this is awesome. Gears feel epic. Let's get a feel for the brakes. A little under rotation there already. Let's get a feel for this car. Oh, the speed is epic. The brakes are very sharp. This is all bringing memories back. I've been here before, a few years ago. No one behind me, clear track ahead of me. It's a dream for a racing driver. Easy through the chicane first time. Still got to move the mirror a bit so I can see. Engine temps are good. Car feels good. I'm absolutely loving this. Let's get a feel for the car. Oh, it feels so good. Flat out down the corner curves, easily flat. Tyres are nowhere near full temperature yet. Just easing my way around, getting a feel for the car. Just moving around a little bit. Oh, this is absolute heaven. Oh, I've forgotten what this feels like. I am a very lucky boy to feel this. Most people never get to feel performance like this in their life. I lived it for a bit. And now I'm getting to do it all over again. Oh, what a day. Right, the grip at high speed is epic. Easy now on the hairpin, wait for the traction. And fire it out of the corner. Use all the road. Pit limiter, second gear. And that is a session in a GB4 car. Oh, what a day. Ooh, good, lovely. Oh man, that's good.
2025 GB4 car is done. I had an absolute blast. I don't know whether you could see from my face straight out of the car. I'm still grinning, but I absolutely love every second of it. I haven't driven a car in anger on a race circuit for getting on for 4 years now, since the November 2020, where it was my last season GB3. Long time, but within a lap I felt comfortable in the car. Really intuitive to drive, encourages you to push more, and the more you push, the more the car comes alive. Really nice level of downforce actually on the car for this year's GB4 car. Got a bit more than the current GB4 cars, which means you can get a lot of confidence in the high-speed corners, but not so much that it's going to be intimidating to a new driver either straight out of karting or maybe who is not so experienced in single-seater slicks and wings. Car moves around in medium and low speed. You can really play with the throttle and the brakes in the low speed corners as well. And I think it's a great step up upgrade for the GB4 Championship, and I'm looking forward to seeing how more drivers react to driving this car for 2025. That was a pretty good day at work, as days go. I very much enjoyed myself that day, and the one thing I took away, Max, is I'd had a lot of time out of being in a racing car in anger, and I felt at home straight away, and I think that bodes really well for the new car. And I think, again, great for the young drivers. A lot of these drivers in 2025 coming straight out of karting or other championships like Ginetta Juniors, and the fact that the car is so approachable, I think, is a real draw.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the brakes in the car is so good that you can make that step from quite a young age, 15 years old, into this car and feel quite at home with it straight away. The car feels really nice at every point in the corner. It has really nice traction. You've got the naturally aspirated engine, so you're not having to learn, turbo engines. You have to learn quite strange techniques that are very turbo specific, rather than naturally aspirated engine is like similar throttle to what you've been used to in karting.
Yes, exactly. So a brilliant introduction to single-seater racing and the perfect first stepping stone for a young driver's ladder. Max, I'm going to let you transition from a pundit into a driver coach once again. Thank you very much for helping us out with the pre-show. We'll keep an eye on the Graham Brunton, or Max will be keeping an eye on the Graham Brunton racing drivers. Of course, very big grid of drivers this season, 25 here at the first round, hopefully maybe more through the rest of the season. And we're going to try and get through as many of them as we can so that you at home can get to know some of the drivers. And another driver who's in this championship, shown well in testing, is Luke Hilton. Down here in the Douglas awning, and we're here with Luke Hilton. Luke, you're not new to racing, so talk to us about some of your experience before this season.
So back in 22 and 23, I was racing something called Fiesta Juniors. Obviously a lot different from this because it's front wheel drive. Basically a different driving style overall. Last year I raced in the Radical UK Cup Series Championship, and yeah, do you know what, from that championship there's a few things I can carry over to here. One being the racecraft, two, it's got aero and wings as well, so that's sort of the thing that you can carry over, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's an unusual thing really, because a lot of the drivers who are doing their first years in single-seaters haven't often driven slicks and wings, but you've kind of done that. What sort of things will you be able to take from that into this year?
The corner speeds and how hard you can hit the brake and sort of stuff, that sort of thing. It's just the techniques, and I jumped into this and felt comfortable straight away, which is quite nice, and it's a lot of weight lifted. So.
And you've been having a number of test days ahead of the season, and things seem to be going pretty well. Do you want to talk to us a bit about that preparation this year? So
Douglas Motorsport have been amazing. Over winter we made massive development. The progress we've made is astonishing, and we've shown some really good pace, and we've just taken every day as it comes. Each test day we've made step by step, and we've just kept making progress, so it's quite nice.
And what are your hopes for the year ahead?
I've just got to take each weekend as it comes. I can't expect anything. You can always you can't expect, but you can have a overview of it. So, but I'm hoping to be up there. Top 4, top 3, battling up there. We've shown some P1 pace, which is quite nice. But yeah, I'm going to be fighting for the championship as anyone would. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Well, Luke, thanks very much for chatting to us, and we'll see how you get on this season.
Thank you very much.
Great to catch up with Luke Hilton driving for Douglas Motorsport. He'll be one to watch in this race. He had decent pace in the race yesterday, was getting well involved in the action. But this season we've got more drivers, including 5 female drivers. The GB4 Championships had lots of female drivers over the years, 5 joining us this year. And one new driver to the GB4 Championship, but also to car racing, is Lily Mae Watkins, and we heard from her just today. Former champions in GB4, KMR Sport, have got a new driver this year on the grid in the form of Lily Mae Watkins. Lily, great to have you in the championship. Just talk to us a bit about what you've done before this season, because it's not a huge amount.
No, since I've started, I only started about 5 years ago doing corporate karting, and since then all I've been doing is British Indoor Karting Championship and just corporate karting, endurance races and stuff like that.
So big step up jumping into the GB4 Championship this season. You seem to be faring pretty good considering, but what What sort of made you think, you know what, GB4 is for me?
We just thought that it was the next step. I've been a lot in YRDA and Kokoro, so we've been doing a lot of sim work, and I've been really fast in there, so we just thought we might as well make that step rather than doing owner karting at my age.
Of course, you mentioned the simulator there. Of course, simulators are a really important tool for young drivers these days. What have you been working on, and has it helped you on circuit?
We've mostly been working on the basics at first, and then we've been working on just simple stuff like tyre warm-ups, race starts, everything we kind of need to prepare for the season, kind of.
Amazing. And of course, with former champions in KMR Sport, talk to us about how the preparation with them has gone so far.
Oh, it's gone great. I only started testing in January in Pembury, and since then we've just been on a learning curve of just improvements every single test day, every single session, just learning just the basics of the car and then trying to build up my technique and just my speed overall.
And of course, this is your first season in single-seater slick swings, but also your first season in car racing total. So what are you hoping to take away from this year?
Honestly, just improvements, just learning the car, learning how to get up to speed and just making big improvements over the course of the season, just to get nearer and nearer to the top.
Well, Lily, we'll see how close you can get to the top as we go throughout this year. Thanks very much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
We are down in the assembly area building up to the second race of the GB4 Championship in 2025, the first race of today. But before we do that final build up and maybe chat to some of the drivers and personnel down here in the assembly area, let's learn a bit more about the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit with Lewis McGlade.
So then to Donington Park on the Leicestershire-Derbyshire border. Of course, some of the most fantastic corners in British motorsport. Redgate, the run down the Craner curves, up through the old hairpin, overtaking opportunities at McLean's and Coppice, and that little back stretch down towards the Fogarty S, and then into the tight hairpin at the Melbourne hairpin. Of course, that final turn at Goddard's also is an excellent overtaking opportunity, back onto the Wheatcroft straight and down towards turn 1 at Redgate. One of the most notable features around this circuit is, of course, the elevation over the 2.5 miles, around about 4 kilometres around the circuit. It sees 35.8 metres of elevation, most notably down at the old hairpin as we climb back up the hill around the 12 turns. So much great racing can happen here at Donington Park.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Lewis. Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, favourite amongst the drivers, brilliant overtaking opportunities, undulation up and down, and also just a driver's favourite. It's got a lot of technical corners, a great place to start the season and get these drivers basically building into the season. And it's a great place to drive around. Of course, you saw me have a go around the circuit, but we just saw the number 59 here of Jason Pribble for ADM. He's a new driver to this season, and we're going to ride on board with him for a lap of the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. We start the lap of the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit completely flat out over the start-finish line. Moving over to the left-hand side for turn 1, Redgate, braking using all of the track on the entry. Tip it in early, use the curb at the apex and watch out for track limits on exit. Your lap times will be deleting qualifying, and do that too many times in the race, you'll be expecting a penalty. Path of least resistance down Craner curves. A lot more undulation here than it looks like on the camera. To the left-hand side to open up the old hairpin. Nip the curb on the apex. Watch out for track limits again on the exit. Very fast, very committed corner there. Completely flat out now as we travel uphill towards Schwantz curve, which is just setting you up for the entrance of McLean's. Right at the middle of the corner, the car goes light, and we're again watching out for track limits at the exit of the corner. All the apex curb on the left to open up Coppice, curb in the middle, run the wall of death around the outside, car goes light as the car goes over the crest at the exit. Flat out moving to the right-hand side as we head towards the Fogarty S's now. A lot faster than it looks. Looks tight, but you can carry a lot of speed into here. Brake on the curb. First apex left, over the curb on the right. Watch out for track limits. Those curbs are very nasty if you hit them at the wrong angle. Final sector now, 2 hairpins remain. First down to Melbourne hairpin. Lock up ahead, but Jason here makes the apex nicely, gets a good exit, straight line towards the curb on the exit. Completely blind the final corner as we brake for Goddard's. Use the curb on the right-hand side to open up the apex. Tip it in early, try not to lock that inside front wheel. Use the curb on the apex, completely flat out to the curb at the exit for a lap of the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit in GB4. Very clean lap from Jason Pribble there, but didn't quite get the fastest lap of the day in qualifying yesterday. That was this man right here, Isaac Phelps, the number 35, yellow elite motorsports car. Brilliant job, double pole position. He started on pole position yesterday, will go from pole position again today. The top 3 actually looking very, very similar. Second place, returning driver Jack Taylor for Fortec Motorsports in the red and white number 50. He'll be pumped up after unfortunately getting a puncture at the exit of turn number 1 yesterday, in contact with the man directly behind him, the number 46 yellow car of Ari Bansal. Ari actually, once he got his front wing fixed, came into the pits, set the fastest lap in that towards the end of yesterday's race number 1. So we know he's got the pace in this one, so keep an eye out for him if he can get through the first lap cleanly. But right behind him you'll notice another yellow car, Elite Motorsports being the team of the day in qualifying, 4th place. This time, the second fastest lap being the 4th fastest of the session, was Alex Catulus, and he had a good race yesterday, up from 8th or 7th on the grid into the podium position, so we know he can move forward. Of course, some of those positions are owing to the unfortunate contact between Bansal and Taylor, but he'll be a one to watch in this one for sure. Of course, 3 elite cars in the top 4, but then 5th and 6th is both the hill speed cars of Dan Ginchard and Leandro Ljunkos. I'm going to grab a quick word with Dan, if that's okay. Quick word. Dan, of course, good result yesterday, 2nd place, going from 5th place again today. What can you do in this race?
Yeah, we've got the advantage of the better tyre today, so hopefully we can make use of that in the first few laps and just take it lap by lap and see what we can do.
Do you think tyre warm-up's going to be an issue this morning, or is it going to be okay if you can work hard?
If we can work it hard enough in the opening lap, we'll be all right. But yeah, those first few laps are going to be critical, definitely.
Amazing. Good to hear from Dan Ginchard, of course, second place yesterday. Of course, Dan mentioned the tyres strategy there, 6 tyres, but there's a lot to the GB4 Championship, and Lewis will explain the whole format of the series a bit further in a bit more detail.
The GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, is run by MSV's racing arm, MSVR. The 2025 season will feature drivers as young as 15 driving the brand new Tartas MSV GB4 025. Each race weekend consists of 1 qualifying session, which will set the grid for 3 18-minute races, the final of which features a top 12 reverse grid, which will see the pole sitter pushed into the middle of the pack. There are 21 races in the 2025 season across 7 rounds and 5 circuits, with the calendar starting at Donington Park. Then it's on to the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone at the end of April, Alton Park in May, Snetterton in the middle of July, with both a return to Silverstone and the penultimate round of the season at Brands Hatch both in August. This is before returning to the scene of the start of the championship at Donington Park in October. There are no required pit stops in GB4, but each car is only allowed a maximum of 6 dry Pirelli tyres each race weekend, the equivalent of 1.5 sets, meaning tyre management is a critical feature. There are multiple prizes on offer in the 2025 campaign, including £50,000 to the 2025 GB4 champion towards their 2026 GB3 campaign, as well as the George Russell Pole Position Cup, which rewards each driver on pole position with £150. The driver with the most pole positions at the end of the season will win an extra £1,000 and the George Russell Pole Position Cup, with a further £1,000 going to the team of the driver with the most pole positions. Should the top female driver in GB4 this year secure a seat in F1 Academy next season, MSV will contribute €50,000 to her budget for that campaign.
That was, of course, all of the ins and outs of the championship. Lots up for grabs this GB4 season. Lewis mentioned all the prizes. Interesting to see, of course, that €50,000 prize to the highest finishing female driver if they go on to Formula 1 Academy. 5 drivers this season, including both the Fox drivers, Caleb McDowell and the other Fox driver. There were 5. We've got returning drivers as well, including Ava Dobson and Megan Bruce. Ava Dobson just raced for the Arden Motorsport team. She's in the 55, just a mostly red and white car there. She's made a big step over the winter. Struggled a little bit last season with pace, and also her race starts definitely made a step forward this year. We saw her get away well. Dan Ginchard mentioned a moment ago that some drivers deciding to take new tyres in this left-hand side of the car. So looks like the cars are leaving the grid now. So for the second time this season, GB4 is going racing.
It was an excellent start to this brand new era of GB4 yesterday as we prepare ourselves for the next step of the journey as the rare sight of sun hitting this Donington Park circuit to open the 2025 season. There was so much drama, so much great racing in this 25 car grid here at Donington Park. We'll take a quick look around the circuit. If you didn't join us yesterday, you've got the race down towards Redgate, you've got the Craner curves down to the old hairpin, one of the most iconic sequences of corners in all of British motorsport. It then gets a little bit tricky over at McLean's and Coppice before you get to the Fogarty S. The Melbourne hairpin was where we saw the most overtakes yesterday. Goddard's being the final corner, very, very difficult. One of the main features of the circuit is the undulation, up and down all over the place, 35.8 metres. The highest point in the circuit being at Coppice, the lowest being at the old hairpin, with big climbs all over the place. It is a fantastic spectacle of motorsport. As we said, the big overtaking opportunity is that hairpin, the penultimate corner on the circuit, and the drama, well, it started down at turn 1 yesterday. Those cars second and third in shot, the number 50 on the right, and of course the number 46 there on the left. Those two made contact down at turn 1, of course. Jack Taylor and Ari Bansal, the pair of those both having very big issues in the race, basically dropping right to the rear. Jack Taylor had a puncture and Ari Bansal lost a front wing. Let's update you though with the grid. The top three are exactly the same as yesterday. Isaac Phelps on back-to-back pole positions to start the season, starting alongside Jack Taylor, and then Ari Bansal starting from 3rd position. Alex Catoulas a little bit up from 7th to 4th after a great drive yesterday. We're starting this one just on the cusp of the podium. Daniel Ginchard had some great pace yesterday up to 2nd position, with Leandro Juncos showing some excellent overtaking opportunities, especially with that run down into the hairpin. Luke Hilton and Stefan Bostangiev. Bostangiev struggled a little bit on pace a little bit later on, maybe a little bit overheating on the tyres. Liam Wilson in 9th position, with Enzo Hallman starting inside the top 10. Then it's Alex Berg who'll be starting the race, I believe, from the reverse grid pole position in the race later on this afternoon. So he's got to keep his car clean alongside Thomas Ingram Hill, then Ava Dobson in 13th position. Dayton Coulthard in 14th position. And yes, the grid still keeps going. 11 more cars for us to deal with. Megan Bruce had a bit of a struggle yesterday, the only car to finish a lap down. Maya Dianorine finished inside the top 10, having showing some great pace, along with his teammate Callum Baxter in 17th position. That's where he's going to be starting. Luca Magnussen down in 18th position. The final couple of positions inside the top 20 see Jason Pribyl and Josh McLean there in 20th. Final two full rows of the grid, Holly Mile and Nye Evans starting from 22nd position. And then it'll be Lily Watkins and Caitlin McDaniel, one final driver on the grid who did go from the rear all the way up to 15th. Alex O'Grady disqualified from qualifying after a technical infringement yesterday after the qualifying session, was slated to start this race from 3rd position. Lewis McGlade, Piers Prior in the commentary booth, ready to bring you what will be an excellent race. 18 minutes on the clock, should be 13 laps as we saw yesterday. Isaac Phelps has all the pressure on his shoulders to go back to back. And he was excellent yesterday, wasn't he?
Pretty much faultless, if I'm honest. Brilliant start to get away from the line. Not easy to get these single-seaters off the line. The clutches are a little more tricky than your road cars at home, designed to, of course, take the power of these 2-litre naturally aspirated racing engines from Mountune. And it's, yeah, pretty much didn't put a foot wrong. Drove away from the front of the field. Had, I think, the fastest lap of the front group, although his teammate, Ari Bansal, starting in 3rd, even though he dropped nearly a lap down, did set the fastest lap of the race. So keep an eye out for the 2nd yellow elite car.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ari Bansal will be pushing as hard as he can. Wind slightly lower than yesterday, about 10 kilometres an hour slower, but it is the same direction, so it's a tailwind down into turn 1. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to unfold. I mean, it should mean that they're going quite quick down into the first corner. So for the 2nd race of the season, let's get ourselves ready to go underway. The left-hand side of your screen, that bright yellow car, that is Isaac Phelps. Alongside him is Jack Taylor on the right, and we are racing for the 2nd time. Really good start from Ari Bansal from 3rd position in that 46 bright yellow elite machine. He's going to take over 2nd position on the race down into the first corner, and with Catoulas down the inside, it could be an elite 1, 2, 3. Ari Bansal straight around the outside of Isaac Phelps. There is Ari Bansal on the right hand side, and Bansal is about to take over the race lead as we head into the Craners.
Brilliant move around the outside from Ari Bansal, overtaking his teammate around the outside. Bansal Bouncels, the number 46. There was someone off in the background, Lewis. You have a look at the time screen, try and figure out who that is, as we see the 50 of Taylor fighting side by side. Oh, it's the 48. That is Molly Mile, and we've got contact. Unfortunately, Bostangiev's lost his front wing.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame there. Yeah, Mile had gone off at Redgate, and then, yeah, Bostangiev, no front wings. There's clearly been some more contact. Must have been down towards the old hairpin. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4 elite, so attacks coming in the background. I believe that's Leandro Junkos. The two hill speeds either way. It's Gunchard who is the lead of those red, white and black hill speed cars. They're going to go side by side now. The left-hand side of your screen, that is Junkos. Whilst that's going on, Elite are battling up ahead. The one on the inside of the corner, the 35, that is Isaac Phelps in the yellow Elite car, and his teammate Catalyst was trying to go for a move, but he's actually going to lose out in that one.
Yeah, Catulus is trying to go around the outside of the fog and the entry of the fog ATSs. That's an unwise move, in my opinion. You're not going to go too wide through there, especially with your teammate, and it's left him vulnerable from the number 50 of Jack Taylor, who tries to go around the outside once again in the hairpin. Doesn't quite get that move done, but pressuring Catulus into a defensive move into the last corner. Big right front lock up there from from Dan Ginchard into the last corner. That won't help his tyre management throughout this race.
It's easy for you to say, Piers. Someone off in the background there. I believe that's Jason Pribble, who might have been off there as Jack Taylor in the number 54 Tech car, the white and red, tries to go once again around the outside. Look at how much gravel has been kicked up here when Holly Mile went off on that opening lap. It's going to be very, very slippery. So I think that might be Ava Dobson going on the attack, trying to work her way down the inside in that Arden car.
Yeah, dream start for Elite Motorsport. 1, 2, 3. Bansal making up for the issue he had at turn 1 yesterday. Absolutely lacking no confidence on the first lap, despite his contact yesterday, going right around the outside on lap 1. A brilliant manoeuvre. He's taken the lead. Phelps second place. He won't mind. I mean, he won't like it, but he won't mind it if he finishes second in this one. A first and a second at the start of the season will extend his championship lead, and then Catulus in third place. Here we go. Let's have a look again. Look at the number 46, currently second, jinking to the right-hand side of shot, outside, squeezes Phelps to the inside as we see a lock-up in the background. I think that was from Enzo Holman, but right around the outside, just staying within track limits, just about. I think they're going to give them a little bit of lenience on that first lap, and that's when Holly Marler went round. Looked like there was a bit of contact there, and the second Fox car having to take through the gravel, which was why there was so much gravel. And this is where Bostangiev, he had a spin. He had a spin. That is really unlucky to lose his front wing there. His front wing just caught the side of, it looked like the number 27 Arden car of Leon Wilson's, and we're back racing live as the two Hillspeed cars are still going at it. Junkos in the 77 on the back of the 49 of Ginchard.
Yeah, indeed, the two Hillspeed teammates battling for 5th position at the moment. Fastest laps just coming from your race leader. Bansal is trying to check out. There is the look at the moment as Junkos is trying to go up and under on Ginchard there as they work their way down the hill into the Craners. It's Ginchard on the right-hand side of your screen as they head side by side. On the left now as they work into the Craners. Ginchard with the inside run heading into, with Junkos rather on the inside line as they head into the old hairpin. Gets past Ginchard. And so Ginchard has to settle now for 6th position. Ginchard did finish 2nd yesterday, but the two Hillspeed squabbling over the same position. I mean, I'm sure it's great for the photographers, not so great for them two progressing in this race. They're letting the top 4 check away, those 3 elite cars and Jack Taylor, who, by the way, massive improvement this season from Jack Taylor. I'm sure some of the coaching that he's getting from a certain Joseph Loke has helped him. Obviously, some of those GB3 drivers staying around in the paddock, trying to get those GB4 drivers right up to speed.
Absolutely, yeah. Jack Taylor made a big step forward, but the Hillspeed cars came on really strong in the second half of yesterday's race. They were really pushing on, so look at them towards the end of the race as we see the two elite yellow cars in the foreground of shot just there having a battle amongst themselves, as it is Catulus who's actually pressuring the back of Phelps. I didn't get a chance to look at the tyre selection of the front few as I was on the grid there. Would have been good if I'd have made a mental note, but there's so much going on down there. Lewis, you're just seeing buying a battle further down.
It was Coulthard locking up. I did wonder if he was going to go on, but Coulthard, who's actually running in 10th position, so quite an improvement on yesterday from Dayton Coulthard, who is now right on the rear end of the two Graham Brunton racing cars. Speaking of Graham Brunton racing, there is a move to the outside, the number 45 there of Callum Back, so trying to get to the outside of Megan Bruce. Now I'm going to go on the up and under. Megan Bruce in the KMR Sport grey and blue car that's currently sat in 14th position in this race. Callum Baxter, who is the highest placed driver in the championship from 2024 that's returned for 2025, is trying to work his way up the order after a struggle in qualifying.
Yeah, and Megan Bruce actually had a bit of a tough day yesterday. Ended up getting lapped. We speculated before the show, Lewis, off camera, that she might have been carrying an issue because she's actually had pretty decent pace qualifying in 15th place, only just a second or so off pole position, and her pace yesterday definitely didn't reflect that and isn't reflecting it in this race, although she is under pressure from Baxter in that GBR red and white car.
Yeah, indeed, all three GBR cars, slightly different liveries on them, slightly different sponsors, but they do all look fantastic. There's Baxter into the inside, and the white and red's going to send one down the inside here on Megan Bruce. Bruce covers it off brilliantly though, and it's going to open the door for Bruce's teammate, which is the number 3 of Alex O'Grady, who's going to make it 3 wide. Alex O'Grady in the number 3 going through the middle, starting from the rear of this field. You've got Megan Bruce down the inside and the number 9. It's opened the door for the switchback, the double switchback, and a bit of contact as Callum Baxter in the white and red car does make contact with the rear end of Megan Bruce. And now once again Alex O'Grady with an excellent send to the inside on his teammate into the final corner. That number 3 car of Alex O'Grady from the rear of the field up to 14th place.
Brilliant drive from Alex O'Grady. He was really unlucky to not get to take the position he qualified in due to a technical infringement, but we know he has the pace. In qualifying, Lewis, when we were watching down at the hairpin, with about 2 minutes to go, he was on pole position. Let's have a look at this again. So it looks like it was Alex O'Grady splitting the middle, had to go a bit deep, then Baxter just a bit clumsily running into the rear tyre of Megan Bruce. She'll be lucky to get away with no puncture there, but unfortunately that meant that Baxter was the one that lost out most there.
Yeah, the other car, by the way, and that white and green car, that was Josh McGlade, the Pace Performance car, basically just in the middle of all of it. Battling happened up and down the order. This is the battle for 11th and 12th. You've got Ava Dobson in that white and red, the more predominantly red car there with the white. That's the Arden car. You've got Thomas Ingram Hill in the white, more predominantly white, with red. That one's the Fortec car in the middle of shot, and then directly behind them, you've got Enzo Hallman in that blue Douglas Motorsports car. Jack Taylor's gone out wide in the number 15. It's going to cost him 1, maybe 2 positions. It's just going to be the 1, of course, to Junkos.
Yeah, it's a big lock-up that looked like going into the hairpin there. It looked like he'd snatched that brake in the start of the braking phase and wasn't able to get that front tyre rotating again. So not only did that cost him a position, but he's also going to be lamenting the fact that he's now got a not quite round front right tyre.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Speaking of which, there comes the move from McLean in that white and green Pace Performance car, trying to work his way past Callum Baxter in the white and red, jumping into all of this. I believe there might have been a bit of a moment earlier on in the race from Pribble, who's that very distinctive kind of grey and blue with the really pink highlights. Pribble making some great moves to come through all of that. I do like that livery, I must say.
Yeah,
really stands out. But working through whilst those two were squabbling amongst each other.
Yeah, Pribble doing a good job after, as he's mentioned, that little issue. He's only a one-man team with ADM this year at the moment. You never know, you might get some more drives as the season goes on after what so far has been a pretty good advertisement for the new era of GB4 in 2025. We're cutting back to the battle for second place. It's Phelps in the 35 and foreground, followed closely by his teammate at the 51 of Catoulis. Catoulis currently sitting in the position he finished yesterday's race in third place. He would like to get one over on his teammate, but the man at the front of the field, Ari Bansal, absolutely romping away from the field, 4.5 seconds ahead of both of his teammates now, and of course he pulled away from Phelps, who was the one that was dominating yesterday.
Yeah, and of course to note, if you're kind of not aware, obviously it's a timed race, 18 minutes in total. We're about 9 minutes through. They will get it will be 13 laps, so it will actually be another 7 laps of racing from this point. But Bansal's got some unbelievable pace as we see some battling happening. That's Nye Evans, I believe, trying to make a move. One of the other couple of single car entries there in Nye Evans. But yeah, I said some couple of bits of good racing back here.
Yeah, it's good to see Rosso Verde back this year with Rosso Verde Scorpio. This year, of course, they are famed with their entries with Christian Lester over the last few years in GB4. They've this year have gone with Nye Evans. It looks like Nerin, but I'm told reliably by himself that it is pronounced Nye. He prefers that, so just one to note for the rest of the season. But this battle in second place is certainly hotting up. That is the 35 Phelps, followed closely by his teammate, both Elite Motorsport bright yellow cars. Catoulis definitely looking like the one who's got the most pace at this stage in the race.
Yeah, we're about halfway through where the race will actually end from this point on. So Ari Bansal is leading, set another fastest lap on the previous lap as well, ahead of Isaac Phelps and Catullus. A 1-2-3 for the Elite Motorsports team. Then it's Junkos for Hill Speed behind in 4th, with Jack Taylor in 5th position, Ginchard in 6th position with Wilson, then Berg, then Dean Areen, and then Coulthard. Will say, with Berg and Dean Areen being up there, once again, great drive from Dean Areen to be inside the top 10. Also qualified 16th position, if I remember correctly.
Yes, 16th. For this race.
The GBR cars have really good race pace. Callum Baxter is showing this. He's in the 45 car, the 3rd car in shot here. I know he's not moved up quite as much as his teammate Dean Areen, but he's showing that this car, that they are quick in this car at the moment. They can get after it. It was just a poor qualifying that's held them back.
Yeah, exactly. They spoke to, of course, Max Maserati, who joined me on the pre-show, and he said that they were really pumped up, all 3 drivers, after the first race, knowing that they had good race pace, must have made some changes to the car, and maybe they're driving overnight from qualifying into the, well, say overnight, during the day from qualifying into the race. And they showed really, really strongly yesterday, all making up positions, and they're doing exactly the same again today. Maya Dionorine are up from 16th to, where is he now? Must be 11th place, so a +5. And his teammate Berg from 11th to 8th place, so both gaining. And then of course we've seen Baxter getting in amongst it. Now actually that's Pribble up the inside of Megan Bruce. Pribble in the 59 with the pink highlights. Bruce returning in the number 9 KMR Sport team, and that's allowed Callum Baxter to try around the outside of Schwantz, which will be the inside for McLean's. Gets the move done. Yeah, well, it's not fully complete yet. Megan Bruce is trying to hang on. Wow, Megan Bruce in that grey and blue KMR Sport car nearly clipped the rear wheel of Callum Baxter, and now they're being joined by Luca Magnussen in that black, white and red car directly behind, and Magnussen might be able to try and find a move here. They've got McLean also joining them with the white and green pace performance car. There goes Magnussen straight down the inside as they work into the fog. Yes, oh, that is brilliant commitment and so brave, and here comes McLean on the inside. Oh yeah, McLean's going to get involved in this. Megan Bruce is it just seems like the tap was open for Megan Bruce. She's struggling hugely with pace, but once one car goes through and you lose a bit of momentum, there's something you learn in karting. If you start going backwards, you need to stop this or stem the flow as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we can see what happens with Megan Bruce there.
So this is the battle for 11th position. Maya Dionorine, who actually was running, I think, in 9th position, has dropped back into this group. You've got Maya Dionorine at the lead, at the head of this group. Then you've got the Douglas Motorsports car of Enzo Holman. And then we've got Thomas Ingram Hill. And then also at the back of this, the number 3 car of O'Grady, who started from the rear. These are the next targets for O'Grady to tick off. Alex O'Grady was originally slated to start this race in 3rd place and is showing the pace that he's got.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the pace for 3rd place in this race, it seems.
Yeah, brilliant driving so far from O'Grady. Gained a lot of positions yesterday, gained even more so far today. He just needs to make sure that he has clean moves. He's going around the outside of Coppis. That would be an absolutely exceptional move if he can get that one done around the outside of Tom Ingram Hill. We've got move of the weekend so far, move of the year so far. I know we're early in, but that's a pretty good one around the outside of Coppis. Completely blind on entries. We also see Taylor going past Ginchard.
That was absolutely incredible from Alex O'Grady. I mean, the bravery to send it round. We saw some great moves in Donington Park in its history. I remember Jack Sherwood, who will be racing in GB3 later on this year, put on some great moves around here in the first season, the inaugural season in 2022 of GB4. That one from O'Grady is up there. That was so brave to send it around the outside of Coppis. Whilst we're looking here, this is the battle for 5th place. You've got Jack Taylor there in that 5th spot, and he's being attacked quite a bit by Ginchard, who nearly made a move.
I think actually Taylor made his way past wait, hang on. Taylor made his way past Ginchard because Taylor fell down earlier, so that we were just seeing the end of that battle. And I think at this stage in the race, for some reason, Ginchard is falling away, not showing the late race pace that the Hill Speeds had yesterday, potentially due to those 2 new left-hand side tyres, which are good when they're new, like 4, 5, 6. But if you bring them in too quickly, was hearing from the teams and driver coaches, you can then effectively make them fall away a bit aggressively if they're if you're not nice to them, basically, when they're new.
Yeah, and of course you say 2 new tyres because they've got 6 tyres in totality, slick tyres across the weekend. Here comes the move to the outside then from Holman. Ooh. Straight around the outside going through McLean's, and now they head up towards Coppis. Nearly had O'Grady in the grey and blue car there for KMR Sport try and work his way past Dean Areen in the white and blue. But that was a really nice move. A bit of a battle of blue here, which is fine. That was all 3 different teams, I must say.
Yes, of course. You've got the blue and blue, at the front of the field of the 7, that one there, the Douglas with the dark blue and light blue. Then you've got the blue and white of the Asus-sponsored Mayor Dion Arene for Graham Brunton Racing. Then the grey and blue number 3 of Alex O'Grady, who's come from the back of the field, who's now actually under pressure from a dive up the inside. Tom Ingram Hill, beautiful pass. That's a textbook Melbourne hairpin pass, and getting such a good exit. He's now alongside Mayor Dion Arene.
Yeah, Dion Arene went out wide there. Dion Arene in the 44. Alex O'Grady thought about making it 3 wide, but thought that's not a good idea. Oh, Dion Arene's in too hot, and he's actually made contact with Ingram Hill, who sent the number 8 round. There's damage on that car, including, I think, even a puncture. I think he's had maybe some suspension damage. You've got the front wing missing on Dion Arene, who's now going to drop back behind, of course, the number 59 working its way past the 88 car of Jason Pribble. I mean, that was a bit clumsy from Dion Arene.
To be honest, I genuinely thought it was just a bit unfortunate. Really? He went in a little hot. He was well within his rights to go for that move. He had a run. He was on the inside. But I think Tom Ingram Hill squeezed Dion Arene, and Dion Arene just was in a little too hot, snatched the front brake, and yes, a bit of an unfortunate incident into that final corner. And it shows that minimal contact in single-seaters can have, you know, large outcomes, both negative for them. Let's watch this again. Yes, Dion Arene up the inside. Ingram Hill squeezing, but yeah, actually, I think you're right, Lewis. I think, unfortunately, Dion Arene saw Ingram Hill turning in, just panicked a little bit, got on the brakes a bit harder, locked up, and then as soon as you lock up, you can't turn as hard. The front tyres don't give you as much lateral grip, and he just ran into the side of Tom Ingram Hill. Of course, we're not the ones that make the decision on those incidents. That will go to the race director and the clerk of the course, and they will have a look at that and review that before the final race this weekend. But unfortunate for both drivers is, regardless of the outcome of the incident, they're both lost position on the grid. That has released Alex O'Grady, though, and Alex will be looking to push on because he's shown excellent pace so far, brilliant overtaking manoeuvres. It's great that he's managed to get some airtime because he should have been much higher up the grid, all things considered, after qualifying based on his pace.
And a little bit of maturity from him as well. He looked to make that 3 wide and then thought, nah, I'm backing out of this. And then they crashed and he got through on both of them. The easiest overtake is the one you never have to make. Of course, those two coming together is a bit awkward, yeah. It's fine. We've got a lap and a half left to go from this point. About a minute left to go on the clock. But with Bansel's epic pace, he set a fast lap not that long ago. Bansel, who's leading by 6.1 seconds, is looking like it's going to be a dominating victory from him. And we'll be running very fast and very clear from the field. We've got excellent fights up and down the order, including this one here, Taylor versus Ginchard. Taylor's driving really well to try and deal with it, but look, he's trying to do everything to break the slipstream and defend.
Yeah, that's Ginchard's experience. You know, he's had 2 seasons at this level of racing in Formula 4 level in British F4, and he's using that experience. He's trying to just put himself in the mirrors of Taylor and try and make him make a mistake. We'll see if that pays off.
Yes, indeed. Like I say, there's a lot to deal with. I mean, we had drama on the very last lap yesterday. Wilson went off. He's currently running in 7th position. Wilson went off at the very first corner on the very final lap, which we have just begun in a battle with Dion Arene. We'll see them come through the first corner, and you can see the gap behind for Bansal. He's dropped back about it was a second he dropped on the previous lap, but why push when you've got a 6-second lead? Just bring the car home in what will be an epic 1-2-3 for the Elite Motorsports team. They have started this season incredibly strongly. They were looking as though they might have got a really good result yesterday. They obviously had 2 cars on the podium, but Bansal showed the pace with the fastest lap of the race. But after the issues that he had early on by losing his front wing, obviously he was at the back, and there was not going to be a good result for Harry Bansal. Really proving the speed of the team here this morning. I was going to say this afternoon. We're not quite there yet. As the battle for 5th position, Ginchard is losing time. He's losing opportunities to try and find a way past Jack Taylor, who also didn't score yesterday after being dropped down through the field. I said yesterday it was a dominating performance from Isaac Phelps, and that was a bit up in the air because as much as he had control of the field, the gap was kind of ebbing and flowing. It was dropping back towards the rest of the field towards the end of the race. There is no doubt in my mind that Harry Bansal has absolutely dominated this race as he comes through the final corner to win the 2nd race of 2025. Bansal dominates here at Donington Park to make it a 1-2-3 for the Elite Motorsports team. It's Bansal, it's Phelps, and it's Catalyst. Absolutely fantastic. Junkos was showing some really good end of race speed though, as he was closing up to the rear end of Catalyst. And late on, we didn't see, but Ginchard did get past Taylor. That must have been down into the hairpin on the final lap. as the rest of the top 10 will see Wilson, Berg, Coulthard, and Ava Dobson in the top 10. I gave her a shout out yesterday. Was absolutely excellent yesterday. The highest placed female driver, but also more in context of where she's been in GB4 with last season, struggling a little bit, struggling to get the car off the line, struggling with speed. To have a second race this season, top 10, excellent. Coulthard as well, really big improvement on yesterday with 9th place also. But the biggest improvement, at least when it comes to position, well, yeah, it's Bansal to go from finishing right towards the back to winning the race. This was late on. Night Evans down the inside and making a little bit of contact there with Lily Watkins, and Lily Watkins being set off into the grass at the penultimate corner late on in the race. A bit of a shame there for Lily Watkins, who would end up finishing down in 22nd position. We're still waiting for one driver to come across the line, which will be Hilton, who now crosses the line for the Douglas Motorsport team. Really unfortunate there for Hilton, who actually did show some good speed yesterday. Unfortunately, has not been able to show it here today. It does mean that there's 2 drivers that have been on the podium 2 times this season, obviously in the first 2 races, which is Isaac Phelps and Alex Catalyst. Of course, Piers Prior will be catching up to those in just a moment. Dan Ginchard, who was on the podium yesterday, of course, finished inside the top 5. This is going to be a tight battle in the championship, I'm sure, all the way down to the wire. And it's interesting to start out the season with not a double victory. Isaac Phelps was trying, but it didn't quite work out. I believe at Oulton Park last year, when the season began, we had 3 races and 3 different winners. I think that's quite likely that we're going to get that here this weekend. You never really know. Of course, the reverse grid this year for GB4, it's no longer the entirety of the grid or who's within the 103%. It is the same as it is in GB3. If you joined us on that last season, they changed the rule there, where it is the top 12 from qualifying get reversed for that third and final race, which will be up a little bit later on this afternoon. If Isaac Phelps is going to get another podium, if Catalyst is going to get another podium, then they've got to dig deep and find their way through the order, as Isaac Phelps will be starting their race, of course, from 12th. I think Alex Catalyst actually is starting from a pretty decent position. He's actually starting from 6th place, is Catalyst. So the likelihood of him getting another podium is probably quite high if he can make it 3 on the bounce. He did start from 7th place, did Alex Catalyst, on the way to a podium yesterday. There's the race winner yesterday, Isaac Phelps, just 2nd place today. Surely you can't be too disappointed with that. And I mean, how would it be for the elite mechanics out there today? I was saying this yesterday, they're one of the most competent and experienced teams at this kind of level of motorsport in junior formula, whether it is Ginetta Juniors, whether it is here in GB4, GB3. They are all over the place in junior forms of motorsport, and they prove themselves as one of the strongest teams. To start here in this new era of GB4 with a double podium yesterday, 1st and 3rd, and now with a triple podium, a podium lockout for the black and yellow. It's just very, very impressive. But yeah, great drive from Ari Bansal. Qualified 3rd for both races, so he'll be starting from 10th position. And after the issues down into turn 1 in the previous race with the contact with Jack Taylor, to have the bravery to send one around the outside of your teammate as well. Sure, I know Isaac Phelps is always going to give you room in that scenario because he is your teammate. But to have the bravery to go around the outside, really incredible performance, and probably, again, maybe one of the best races that we'll see all weekend. We'll head down, though, to Piers, who's going to be catching up with the top 3.
What a brilliant race from Ari Bansal. Ari, you were unfortunate at the start of yesterday's race, but today you seized it, took the lead at the first race and didn't look at the first corner, didn't look back.
Yeah, it felt good. The start was perfect, and yeah, just managed to ease into 1st place and drive away.
Absolutely. Did you plan that move around the outside of your teammate into turn 1?
Well, you can't plan moves, so I saw he was defending, so yeah, there's only one way to go to overtake him, so I had to go around the outside.
You didn't clearly dwell on the issues from yesterday at all. How good does it feel to bounce back?
Yeah, it's good. It's redemption. Yeah, feels nice.
Absolutely, and of course we saw your pace yesterday, even though you had to come in the pits, change your front wing, setting fastest lap yesterday, set fastest lap again in that race, so dominant victory, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant, well that's Ari Bansal for Elite Motorsport. It's going to be a very elite heavy podium here. We're going to grab Isaac Phelps next. Isaac Phelps, yesterday's winner, today second place. I'm going to try and grab a word with Isaac if we can, and we'll get him over near his car. Isaac, of course, taking first victory of the weekend yesterday. Couldn't quite stay with your teammate of Ari today, but still a good result.
Yeah, he did a great job at the start, and then just kind of got a little gap, and I was just trying to defend and had to fight with Alex, so then he kind of got a gap, and then maybe I took a little too long to get up to pace, but then I think once I got up to pace I had a good pace. But then, yeah, 1, 2, 3 for Elite, so it's a great result for the team.
Let's talk about that start. Of course, a great move from Ari, but you must have seen him coming.
Yeah, I had a good initial start, but to be honest, I just kind of saw him behind me, and I kind of thought Jack could be on the outside, so when I saw him going around the outside, I just was like, oh, okay, he's done that. So, yeah, it was a good move from him, but I think I've got a lot to learn in this single-seater racing.
Of course, you've got some experience in race cars, but not single-seater slicks and wings. We'll see you go again, of course, in the reverse grid race 3 later on today. And I'll grab a word with third place driver, another Elite Motorsport driver. Great day for Elite Motorsports so far this season. Alex Catoulis. Alex, you were third yesterday, third today. Solid result for yourself, but also great result for the team.
Yeah, no, of course. All 3 cars on the podium, that's what you want. So, yeah, happy for the team, happy for me. Yeah.
Of course, you saw Ari go around the outside at turn 1. Did you think about following him?
I think I was a bit too far back. I needed to get into third first before thinking about the lead. So, yeah, but no, good job to him.
Great job from the team. What can you do to be the leading elite throughout the rest of the season?
I think just have a better qualifying. It's pretty simple. So, yeah, that's all.
Amazing. Well, we'll let you celebrate with the team before we hand back to Lewis McGlade for the podium ceremony.
Cheers, Piers. Well, there you go. You've got the 2022 GB4 champion, Nick Taylor, there walking into shot. Of course, I said before about how a lot of the GB3 drivers, or even previous GB4 drivers, Max Maserati is a great example of that, where they kind of stay around the paddock, they keep close, they either start coaching or, in Nick Taylor's case, starts photographing for Through the Lens Media. Of course, there's always another job for you. Plenty going on down there, but again, plenty of celebrations for Elite, and I'm sure out in the paddock plenty of debriefs happening between all the other teams trying to work out how Elite are this strong compared to them. I mean, Elite's pace was really, really good, and they're the only driver really to challenge them was Junkos, who was able to keep them under pressure and was potentially going to grab a podium. Of course, we did see Ginchard as well, also in there. We did see Jack Taylor as well in there, but those dropping off except for Junkos. On to the final step of the podium, the third step of the podium. It is Catoulis for the second day in a row. Isaac Phelps goes one step lower on the podium than yesterday with a second place and the victory. I'm sure there'll be a big cheer here from Elite. Yes, there will. It is, of course, Ari Bansal to take victory. And I will say, really impressive drive. Was obviously had the fastest lap of the race for 2 days running now, which is always very, very impressive. But had fastest laps late on in the race. Dropped off a little bit of speed late on in the race to allow Phelps to kind of close back in. Just wasn't really pushing the car to its absolute limit. I think had basically the win secure. But super impressive to keep setting fastest laps. I think he set the fastest lap on maybe like lap 10, which is really, really solid. Whether he'll have the tyres to go on the attack in this afternoon's reverse grid race, we'll have to wait and see. But Ari Bansal victorious in the second race of the season, and Elite taking a very well-deserved 1, 2, 3. Incredible stuff. It'll be a taller order for them to do from the reverse grid race. They are starting a little bit deeper, but I'm going to say this now. Catoulis, I think he's on for a podium. Let's take a look, though, at highlights from the race. Highlights from race number 2 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. A poor start from Jack Taylor on the front row would drop back behind Ari Bansal, who would also go on the attack for the race lead, straight around the outside of his teammate Isaac Phelps, and it was Ari Bansal to take over the race lead, heading down through the Craner curves. However, his teammate Catoulis was able to work his way through and make it a 1, 2, 3. Holly Mile would go for a bit of a spin at turn 1, and then Bostangiev, a bit of a spin coming out of the old hairpin, losing a front wing as well. Alex O'Grady trying to back battle also with his teammates Megan Bruce and, of course, Callum Baxter for the Graham Brunton Racing team. Alex O'Grady working his way up from the rear end of the field. Baxter also trying to battle Megan Bruce to the outside, nearly clipping the rear wheel of Baxter in a brutal battle, as Thomas Ingram Hill was also sending one down the inside, would make a move on Alex O'Grady, trying to work his way up the order, and then would get alongside Dia Nareen. Dia Nareen would make contact with Ingram Hill, sending them both off and dropping them right the way down the order. An excellent performance though from Bansal to take victory, with Phelps coming across the line in second and Catulus in third. A brilliant performance from the elite team. All three of them separated by just 5 seconds. It was a 4-second victory for Bansal, but at points in that race, that gap was over 6 seconds. An incredible performance from him after dropping right the way down the order yesterday. Catulus then in third position, obviously Isaac Phelps in second. Then we get the two hill speed, Junkos and Ginchar. Ginchar did get past Jack Taylor on the last lap of the race, so Taylor dropped down to 6th from the front row. Wilson was able to reach the checkered flag today, so finishes inside the top 10 in 7th. Then we get another position 8 for Alex Berg, who looks pretty strong for the GBR team. Then we've got Dayton Coulthard and Ava Dobson inside the top 10. Again, great drive for the Arden driver. Howman we saw plenty of. O'Grady we saw plenty of. From 25th to 15th yesterday was impressive. From 25th to 12th, even more of a step up. Incredible drive from the Irishman. Then Baxter in 13th position. Pribble, I think, had a bit of a spin, or at least went off quite deep at the penultimate corner earlier on in the race. Might have been the final corner as well. Magnussen in 15th position with McLean, then Bruce. Dia Nareen dropping down the order to 18th with no front wing, and then Nye Evans and, of course, McDaniel inside the top 20. Issues for all these lot with Mile, then Watkins, Hilton, Bostanziev and Ingram Hill retiring from the race, and being actually the only retirement. Let's hand down though to Piers, who's catching up with the rest of the field.
Yes, it's looking very yellow so far in the GB4 Championship in 2025, but things will probably look a bit different later on for race number 3, that being the reverse grid race. If you want to tune in for that, which we hope you do, that'll be live from about 2:45 this afternoon. We'll see you then.